Hi, I'm John Emmett. It's a great pleasure to be joined by Krystal Weir. Krystal is a double Olympian. She's also a laser radial world champion. So, really good person to talk to about the strains put on the body by laser sailing. So, sailing's a sport. You need to work hard and you need to look after yourself. So, bearing that in mind, what are your three sort of top areas for laser sailors? Number one.
Number one. So number one is hip flexors. It's probably not talked about enough with laser sailing particularly, but basically any hiking boat, it's really important that you look after them. And it's that stretch where you're putting your knee down on the ground in a lunge position. You tuck your bum under and you sort of stretch forward. The reason why this is really important is because this muscle actually goes over the front of your hip and into all the vertebrae from basically the bottom of your rib cage right through to the very bottom of your spine.
So we've got Starving Marvin here. Can you just indicate very simply where we're looking at with the hip flexors?
Yeah, so the bottom of your rib cage is here. So every single vertebrae, you can see these little bony processes that come off the side here. So every single one of these vertebrae and little transverse processes has your hip flexors that come in, and then it all conjoins to one tendon over the top and attaches onto the front of your hip. So when you're hiking, you're in a shortened position with your muscles between this lever point and this lever point, and over time they get shorter and shorter, which pulls your little facet joints at the back here. These little facet joints all get compressed and you end up in quite a bit of pain, particularly with that repeated extension motion that you have when you're sailing lasers.
So how long and how frequently do you think you need to be doing these type of stretches?
Morning and definitely before and after sailing for sure. I mean, you're out on the water for hours at a time, so you have a 45-minute race. Just make sure that between races you're not only hydrating and eating food, but you're also stretching your hip flexors by putting your back foot up on top of the tank, and then once again tuck your tailbone under and stretch forward. If you don't tuck your tailbone under, it means that you just arch into your back and compress those joints that I was just talking about before. So it's quite important that you feel the stretch directly over the front of your hip. I can show you on this board as well. So you can see this muscle here. See the way it comes down into all the different vertebrae and then comes and conjoins over the front of your hip.
So number one,
Number one is
hip flexors,
flexors.
and is that the most important, or do you think they're all equally important?
That's for sure the most important one. Lower back pain is really prevalent in laser sailors particularly just because of the angle of hiking. But all classes, I guess the bigger degree of your knee angle in the boat means that you're going to load your quads up more. So
Like a fin maybe more than a
yeah,
laser.
yeah, like a fin sailor will definitely need they'll generally have bigger, stronger quads because the load is in their quads when they're hiking. Also, they love, I think the
They have to
boys,
be pretty big as well.
they're big boys and they love to do squats, so that's probably a bit of factor too.
And number two, after hip flexors, number two.
It's a combination of your mid back or your quads really. Both of them need to be done. So let's just go with quads because we've already talked about that. That's really easy. You just get a foam roller and you roll your quads out.
You say easy, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. Is that just me?
It's very uncomfortable. But there's a band that runs along the side of your leg, which is called your ITB band. That's really painful to roll on. And that actually doesn't have a lot of benefit to release your quads. So if you just make sure that you actually go a little bit face down when you're rolling your quads out, it'll be much better.
So number one, hip flexors. Number
Number
two,
one
quads. And finally, third golden nugget from Krystal.
is mid back. So your mid back, when you're out sailing, you lock up quite a bit. Like that's actually just the technique that's required for the boat, is to set your shoulders back and to work really hard through your mid back, which means that you end up bracing through your midsection of your back. Once again, you'll end up with those facet joints getting closed down as well. So just make sure that you're rolling. You're going to use a foam roller for this as well as a spiky ball.
So are you saying that every laser sailor needs to have a foam roller?
100%. That and a spiky ball. So you can use a spiky ball to go either side of the spine. The center of the spine's a little bit just uncomfortable and painful because you've got the bone here.
What would you think about using a peanut for that?
Yeah, that's even better. So you can get 2 tennis balls, get some duct tape them together, and then you can just roll either side of your spine here and release that part of your back off.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm actually standing here and I can see Krystal's next client is waiting. So as always, time is of the essence. Need to let it go. Thank you so much for your time and for looking after all us laser sailors.